Hello. You know, there's a moment. Hello, Aaron Baker. Hello, Jeff. There's a moment. Hi, Ben. Before I press live, Lee, there's a moment where I press live and I think, is anybody going to show up to this? Is anybody going to show up to this? That's real. So for those of you that are new to this conversation, first and foremost, I'm going to assume that you can, but I don't want to assume that you can. I don't have my earbuds in. Can you hear me? If it's better if I put those in, I want to know. I don't want to talk for unnecessary minutes without you being able to hear. So let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Oh, Alicia, that's amazing. Thank you. Hello, loves. I'm so happy that you're here. So I'm going to assume that you can hear me. If you cannot, let me know. And for those of you that are new to the conversation, what we typically do is hang out and I answer your questions and we talk about whatever's real and whatever's coming up for you. And sometimes I share what's coming up for me and the conversation goes where it goes. So if you're a silent participant, that's totally fine. And if you have anything that's going on with you, that's on your mind or on your heart that you want some support around, that's what this time together is about. So please ask away. Awesome. I'm glad that you can hear. And what's up with you? There is a little bit of a delay. Good Sweden evening, Miss Camilla. There's a little bit of a delay, so let's talk. What's up? What's going on with you? I will share what is happening with me today. I have been in conversations with clients today. Wednesday is a day that I spend the first half of the day doing client calls, and I've had some really awesome conversations with people and a lot of inspiration. The people that I get to work with are, I don't even think they realize. I try to tell them, and I don't know if that's enough, but they really do inspire me to stretch myself and put myself out there, which I appreciate. And they teach me a lot, which I'm very grateful for as well. Alicia, you're perfect in paradise. I love that. It's so beautiful where you are. I love California. Erin, you're reading my mind. I've actually been thinking about doing that lately. Erin said, for those of you that are not reading, if you could bring a guest onto this regular Ask Me Anything space, who would I want to interview? This is not what's up, but I'm curious who inspires the fuck out of you that you want to share with your tribe. I love this so much. So I actually have been thinking about this a lot because, for a couple reasons. One, I have really dope friends. And there are a lot of people in my life that I get in conversation with, and then I think, man, this should have been recorded. And so any of those people, I'm most inspired, Erin, by people who show up authentically and who are willing to be vulnerable and real. I'm most inspired by people who are okay with their not knowing, and people who don't put up or put on fronts. I'm most inspired by people who are different than me because I love to be challenged and think in new ways. I like to have my beliefs stretched. I was actually sharing, I was in a conversation with two people who are very dear to me, friends of mine, Jamie and Robin, earlier this week. And I said, I feel like there's this cool balance between knowing that you know, right? Knowing that you deserve to be here, you're valid, you're valuable, your points are worth speaking, that you're a leader, and that you own the space that you're in. So there's a balance between that and knowing that you don't know anything. And so it's those people that I want to speak to. So I would love to have a conversation with you, Aaron Baker. I would love to have a conversation with my friend Caitlin. I would love to have a conversation with my friend Charcy. She's so smart. I would love to have a conversation with, my gosh, I would love to have a conversation with so many people. I'd love to have a conversation with my friend and coach, Sean. I would love to have a conversation with my friend Jamie and Robin, my friend Michelle Lane. And these people inspire me for very different reasons. I'd love to have a conversation with Alicia, who shows up on these calls who shows up in these conversations every single week just to connect with her and see what kind of conversation would come from that. If I didn't say already, my friend Amber Jane is powerful and wise and into oils, and anybody that's different than me and has skills that are different than mine. I have a friend, Aisa, that I would be down to speak to. I mean, and honestly, and if you're in my life, you know, I think probably a lot of you are in this group. I thought I was going to send messages to individual people, and I actually accidentally created this Facebook group this morning that, it had probably maybe close to 50 people in it. And I initially was absolutely mortified, right, by this Facebook group that I created, because I thought, oh my God, all these people are going to be like annoyed and bothered, you know, by messages coming back and forth and probably wondering, what is this about? And I tried to delete the group. I don't know how to do that, so I couldn't figure it out. And then what was really cool for me is just to watch, like, the people that were in my life, in my circle, just start hanging out together and sharing quotes and telling each other good morning and like having conversation. Like, Aaron, I have the dopest people in my tribe. I got a friend, Anita, who's like a hypnotherapist. I know some cool people. So anybody, honestly, who wanted to talk to me and who was willing to show up and be authentic and vulnerable, I'd be down to speak to. Yeah, which might be a little bit more than what you wanted, but that's me, right? More than what you want. Hello, Dante, what's up? Yeah, so my whole tribe. Yeah, right? Like, I just, I think I don't know, Aaron, if I hang out with people who don't inspire me. Yeah. Yeah. And the point of this live now is to engage in real conversation. So anybody who'd be willing to engage in real conversation, I'd be willing to talk to. Yeah. I know, I'm excited about putting together a podcast. Yeah, oh gosh, Teresa, I forgot about you, sister. You're brilliant. Like, in my rant down. Candace, shit, everybody. If we're friends, probably you. So hit me up. That's real. Oh, Elena, her too. She's smart and powerful. And oh my gosh, yeah. Damn. So for those of you that are just joining, if you're real and want to have true and transparent conversation, hit me up. I'm down to have some conversations and bring some guests on this Facebook Live pre-podcast training. That's what we'll call this. Thanks for asking that, Erin. That's awesome. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of time that I spend in gratitude. I actually messaged a friend of mine a couple days ago and just really just poured out a lot of thank you, because I was very consciously aware in the moment that I sent the message of how there are so many things about my life now that I take for granted as just like kind of second nature and normal and commonplace. I remember a couple years ago, I was at ECCP, which for those of you that aren't in the coaching world is it's like a higher level training that I go to a couple times a year. And last summer we were having dinner and I was sitting across from Alex, who's brilliant and another high level, just phenomenal coach that I have so much respect for. And we were talking about editors for books and a couple different people were making some recommendations. Alicia, I know you were there. And I just remember looking at Alex and saying how lucky and grateful I was that I just know people who have editors, right? That my friend Artemis is able to say, well, hang on one second. Let me just give you the name and cell phone number of my editor and put in a good word for you. And that these are just not the people. And I'm not talking like the job title, like editor. I'm talking about the people who know people like that, right? Like those people they weren't in my consciousness. They weren't in like my frame of reference just a couple years ago. And as I grew, like we become this magnet that attracts these people to us. And so, yeah, it was fun to think about that for a second, Erin, because honestly, if you're in my life, you inspire me. I don't want to spend. There's not a lot of days, really, in the grand scheme of things, that are left to live. I mean, even if I live thousands more days, like that's still, I just don't want to spend any of that not present. I don't want to spend any of that not with people that inspire and stretch and grow me in some level. So, yeah. And that's lucky. I am grateful. Yeah. Real conversation is the key. No time for superficial bullshit. I was actually talking with, following up with a consultation that I had with this gentleman a couple hours ago, and he's like, how's the weather there? And I literally bust out laughing. Like I just started laughing. I'm like, we don't have to talk about this. And then it wasn't but like 5 minutes later that he asked me about my relationship with my mom and dad. And I was like, hell yeah. Like that's the kind of conversation I want to know. Like I wrote something earlier today that I don't like to snorkel. Like I don't love the surface. I'm not really good at it anyway. Like I feel awkward. Like, hi, how's the weather there? That doesn't interest me. Like it really doesn't. I would rather know like what you cry yourself to sleep at night about, or what makes you laugh so hard you pee your pants, versus what you had for lunch, right? I remember at one point in time I was talking to a friend of mine, Charcy. I mentioned her earlier. And we were talking about how we know like deep like secrets and longings that each of us have, but she doesn't know what my dog's name is. I just thought that was funny. Oh no, why do I need, Teresa, that's funny. Everybody, yes. If you want to talk to me, I want to talk to you. Hit me up, that's hilarious. I'm just saying I was labeling this Facebook Live as pre-podcast training. Not saying that I need more of it, but that's what this is. And thank you for calling me out. You know, Dante, this is dope. And I love this. You know, I was thinking it wasn't that long ago that I did the very first one of these. And it was because one of my friends, right, Angela, another brilliant human, because she challenged me to do it, to do something different. And I was actually super nervous about it. I thought, number one, who's going to show up? There's nothing planned. Like, people don't even know what they're showing up to, right? So why would anybody come to that? And then what if people don't ask me questions? And then what if they ask me something that I don't know the answer to? Like, then what's going to happen? And I had so much fun. And I was so like on this high. After it was over, I couldn't stop doing it. So I love it. I love that we do this. And yeah, this is the beginnings of the podcast, Real Talk with Michelle. I love that. Oh, thank you, Ben. Yeah, I dislike small talk too. I'm just, I don't, like, I'm just not, I don't know. I'm not good at it. So talk to me, you guys. What do you think about what's happening in the world? There's so much cool stuff, like Tiger Woods. Think that's interesting. And then we have, you know, some not great stuff that happened out in Colorado today. We have the burning of Notre Dame. What are you guys reading? What's up? Thank you, Erin, for asking me that one question that just went off for 15 minutes on. What do you guys want to know? You know, Teresa, that's the reason why I've told myself that I don't care for like networking events, because I don't like small talk. And then I realized that that was just an excuse, and that I could go into networking events and bring the deep and real talk. There's no rule. It says it has to be small. So what's going on? How's the weather where you're at? Oh, Robin said that you can't talk about religion in public. Jamie, Robin's not here right now. What do you want to say? So I'm reading a book that I'm going to share this with you, that I'm just in the introduction in, and I've underlined almost every word that I've read so far. Have you guys read this? Really, really, really fascinating. I know, Jamie, I almost messaged you. I'm going to assume those ha-ha-has are from you. How about that title? Yeah? Really, really good. About why women have this limited ability to access their power and voice, that nothing they do seems to resolve. Really, really good. I just finished reading Big Magic, which I think is amazing. If you've not read that book by Elizabeth Gilbert, I highly recommend it. Yeah, Alicia, it totally is sad. And just creepy is like eerie. That eerie's better. Eerie is better for me to just describe it. I was actually sitting with Amanda at Starbucks, and her brother had texted and said that it was burning, and that's the name of a high school in her hometown. And so we were like, wait a minute, like the one in Paris or the one in Ohio? Yeah, just that. I think it was 2004 or 6 that we went to Paris. It's one of the most magical trips that I've ever been on, and I've seen some really cool things and had some really beautiful experiences. But I burst into tears the first time I saw the Eiffel Tower. It took my breath away. You're nosy. You like networking. You know, Teresa, that's actually a really interesting point. And I'm going to call my own self out on your brilliant wisdom. Let me know if you want to be interviewed on my podcast. Okay, so I think that my personal resistance to going to the networking events, especially in the past, Teresa, is because I thought that I had to come in and present me in like a perfect and polished way that would be received by other people, right? So then all my nerves come in because my ego was all on me and how I look and how I sound and what I say. And am I going to say the right thing? Am I dressed the right way? Am I talking the right way? Are they going to judge me? Right, which has me all up in my head and all up in my ego, and you go in and you're curious about them, and so you're out of you and you're focused on them, which makes it easier. So I love that. Nosy, because I can be nosy too, right? So if I go in and I ask the questions and I focus on them instead of being obsessed and focused on me and making this about me, this applies to everything, friends, business, not just networking. Like if you can make it more about the other person, then your ego's not involved, and now all of a sudden it's easier and it's more fun. And here's the cool thing, people like to talk about themselves, so they're gonna have a better time too, right? Thank you, Teresa. I know, Erin, bring it on, Jamie. I wanna hear. Do I wanna see your pictures of what? Sure, Alicia, yes, but I don't know of what. I actually enjoy the discomfort of other people's small talk and the vacant look I return. My mom, when I was growing up, had a button that said, I'm not deaf, I'm ignoring you. You could just point at that. I think it's really cool when you have friends who send you messages while you're on live and call you to higher ground. So thank you for that message. And I hope you grow yourself and stretch yourself and push yourself on your comfort zone so far that you have other people that do the same thing for you. You know, I was talking to this guy who started the conversation asking me about the weather, and we were talking about the why people need coaches, right? And I shared with him one of my very favorite and super simple exercises to drill this point home, which is raise your hand. Right? And he did it. And I said, awesome, raise it higher. And he did. I said, that's why you need a coach. All of us. Because we're never going to bring and pull the best out of ourselves. We need somebody else to do that. So thank you for those of you who are that in my life. What's up, Tracy? Have I seen the images of the faces and spirit in the ruins? No. Wow. Wow. Jamie, that's beautiful. Jamie, would you say, or like, I don't ever refer to you as a medium, but I mean, you are, right? Jamie talks to dead people. Oh, I don't want to see pictures of the weather, Alicia. Yes, Aaron Baker, I love you. Mm. Jamie, I like that, and I'm happy to kind of go back and forth with this for a moment, if you'd like. I love the conversation of. So I think there's something. I've always thought it kind of interesting that people go to graveyards, right? I personally have. I never understood the concept, because to me, that's not where they are. So I didn't need to go to the graveyard to connect with my grandpa, because my grandpa wasn't in the graveyard in my understanding of things and my belief of things. And what I'm taking from what you're saying, Jamie, is that there also is, for some people, a sacredness to the ritual, right? A sacredness to the building, or to, right, the tombstone, or whatever it is that helps them to feel more connected, and it's not necessary. Awesome. Bye, Tracy. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have any judgment, right? Whatever helps you feel connected, right? Whether it's an oil, or a stone, or a rock, or a pebble, or a seashell, or a statue, or a candle, or whatever it is that helps you feel connected. I think that the problem can come when we believe that our way is the only way and has to be the way for everybody else. I was speaking with somebody else that I was doing a consultation with earlier today, and she was telling me that after about 30 minutes, she just gets like distracted, right? Where she just doesn't want to do what she's doing anymore after the short period in time. Now, taking the deeper dive, why is that, beliefs, all of that, and that's where I get lit up. That's the scuba diving, right? That's where I want to play. But even just looking at it at a surface level, I was like, okay, so why not work how you work, right? If you know that you have small chunks of energy and that she could focus for like 30 minutes, and then she needs a break. She wants to go move her body. She wants to go like play and run around, or just do something different, and then come back for 30 minutes. I was like, so why are we pretending that you can't structure your week like that? And she's like, well, that's not what the people who are leading me are telling me. Like, okay, and you're allowed to create your own rules for whatever it is that you need in your life, right? And whatever works for one person doesn't necessarily work for everybody else. And you got to find your own rhythm and work within your own rhythm. So if going, Jamie, right, if going into the church, or if going to the graveyard, if doing those things, or having a certain routine, or working for 8 hours and then ending your day works for you, great. And if working in 15-minute chunks works for you, do that too. I don't know who it is, but there's somebody famous. I think maybe he's written a book about how he broke down his day into like couple hour chunks, right? And then would like work like through the night and take naps in between. Fantastic. I think we get like screwed up in our head when we believe that the one way that we're operating has to be the way for every single human on the planet. So I eat plant-based, and a lot of people get super annoyed with vegans because they're preachy, and it's very much like, this is the way and this is the only way. And every single body is different. And I think we would alleviate a lot of conflict if we would just allow other people to be who they are and not have to fit into our rules of what a morning routine looks like, or how they're supposed to structure their day, or how they're supposed to worship, or how they're supposed to dress, or wear their hair, or act with their spouse, or what type of sex life they should have, or any of that shit. Like, let people just do them and be them, and maybe talk to them and learn other possibilities and new ways of thinking, and allow your mind to be expanded to new possibilities without that meaning anything about who you are or taking away from your beliefs. I think we get along a lot better. That went off on a interesting rant. Hey, Jennifer, you're right on time. Yeah, you know, Jamie, I don't know if he's still on here, but Ben, a friend of mine, we talked about how we possess things, and we use the word my, right? Like, this is my, well, that was my pen, right? This is my marker, this is my pen, this is my glass, this is my water, this is my book. And we have this like ownership, right? My food, my, like this need to cling to these external things. And I think it goes back to the conversation that we have in our tribe a lot. I think it's because of the internal instability that we have to source our rootedness and our sense of belonging from the external tangible things that we hold and we have. And that's why I think that, not that what happens in the world is not, that it's not have the ability to affect us in an emotional way, but I think it's our attachment to those things that actually does create that. So I'm totally with you on that, Jamie. Maybe you and I should talk about religion on my podcast. That would be awesome. Yeah, it was a beautiful building. And that's what you were saying, right, Ben, about like the attachments. I know we've talked about that with food. And I think I was talking to one of my clients about this earlier today, that when we do that and then we lose something, if we don't ever believe it was ours in the first place, then it's almost like I just temporarily had it, right? Like, it just passed through my hands. I remember I was at ECCP. Actually, I think it was the same one I was telling y'all about earlier with Alex. And I had a rose quartz that I had stuck in my bra. And I remember being in the room and I was crawling around the floor, and I was telling my roommates that I couldn't find it. I lost it. And it was actually Robin who said, you didn't lose it. It's done with you now, and it's gone on to serve somebody else. And I love that perspective, because if we are not clinging to the things, then we drop the attachment, and it's in our attachment that we feel the disappointment when something is lost, right? And we speak about death in that way. I lost my grandfather, right? Or and here's, let me stop with that. Here's where this gets, I think, even more dangerous, is that because of how our brain works and because of how we start to overgeneralize, then what happens is we start to take ownership over things that we never actually even had, and then we feel the loss of something before we ever got it, right? Because we put people in our businesses, or we put people in our lives, like we say, oh, they're gonna be, my first whatever team member, they're gonna be my client, or they're gonna be my partner, or like we put their money in our life, in our bank, in our businesses, and we do this and we attach ourselves to that. And so then if they change their minds, we feel this devastation, like it really took something out of us, when in reality it was never ours to own, ever. So this is fun. This is right on time. Currently working on this. Tailoring my day to your natural energy and attention levels. And you know what, Teresa? This is how you do this. You have to pay attention. This chair is on wheels, so I get ranty and I move. We have to start observing. And we have to observe, and I encourage in an environment that's actually feedbackless, right? No feedback. Sometimes, so I was sharing earlier, right? I have a lot of really powerful and just amazing humans in my life. But sometimes we get so much external influence that we can almost like freeze in inaction because we're like, well, so-and-so said this over here, and then they said this here, and then this person said this here, and we have to like shh all of that and check in with ourselves, and we have to just notice, right? It's almost, I don't know if you've ever done this, but there's been times where I've been inside of eating programs where I've just paid attention to the food and beverage that I consumed. Not trying to change anything, not making any judgments about anything, but just notice. And I love that, Teresa, maybe to take like a couple of days and just document. When do you get up? When do you go to sleep? What's your energy like throughout the day? And asking, so 2 questions that have resurfaced themselves to me recently that have been so powerful for me since I've been consciously asking them again is 1, how does it feel to be me right now? And 2, what do I need? Except when I ask it, I ask like I'm talking to myself in the second person, and I say, what do you need? And so just checking in, right, on whether for you, Teresa, it's an hour or, every 30 minutes or every couple hours, like what's my energy like? How am I feeling? When am I at like my high points? When am I like dipping in my energy? And then here's the cool thing. We can structure our life and our businesses around that, right? Teresa is a powerful coach and does incredible transformational videos. I know you're also looking at getting, to my understanding, like into working with children. I don't want to speak your business, but when we have the clarity on when we're at like our high points, right, and when we're really in our flow, then we can schedule our creativity around that. We can schedule our client calls around that. We can schedule videos like this around that and put things in our schedules at times where we're going to be our best and therefore serve others. So good. Okay, the mindset of mind you learned from Eckhart Tolle. So many smart people. Yeah, right, Jamie, you didn't lose him. He died, which is just a change in state. Totally agree. I mean, when we say things like that, it's like I lost a pair of socks. And even then, the at least to me, the loss suggests possession, right? I mean, now I'll say this, and Jamie, I was telling Robin this the other day. I feel like the fairies, which I'm grateful that they're playing with me, I have completely, I have misplaced, or they have been misplaced, jewelry. My like normal standard go-to, my earrings, my favorite necklaces, they were all in a little velvet bag, and I've gotten back from my travels. I have no clue where it is. And there are moments where I'm like, I know I brought it home, right? And I don't know where this is valid for anybody, but I'm just going to say it. But what it has caused me to do, because I think sometimes we get into routines and we get into habits and we just always wear the same thing or go the same route or do the same workout. And in the losing of my favorite jewelry, I've gotten to reconnect with earrings like these that I haven't worn in forever. And I put them on today and I thought, those are cute earrings that I just never wear. So sometimes it's good. Sometimes the universe shifts things around for our highest good. I tell you what I love about this conversation is because I never know where it's going to go. And I so appreciate your engagement and interaction and your presence here. It's so fun. And thank you. Yeah, let's chat and see what happens. So what's up? Does anybody, I make the commitment to be present for an hour. I don't have to, but I do make that commitment. So does anybody have any questions? Have I missed anything? Do y'all watch podcasts or listen to podcasts? Are you going to be excited when I do that? Thank you, Jamie. Metal holds vibration and energy, and stones serve a certain purpose. It may be time for those things to move on to other purposes and allow more resonance with things better aligned to your needs now. Yeah, I received that because a lot shifted and released for me in my travels. So, yeah. And you know, I posted a couple days ago on Facebook, I think, that we feel the way we feel based on the stories that we tell, right? And people can argue back and forth. I mean, I happen to trust and believe Jamie. But even if you didn't, when I think about that for the jewelry, right? When I think about like, maybe they're just supposed to move on and allow, right? We can't grow while we're trying to cling to and save, right? If my hands are full, then I have no room to receive anything new. When I tell myself that story, I feel better, right? And when I tell myself the story of what an idiot I am and how I can't believe that I lost my jewelry and I messed up and where are they and I've got to find this, and there's so much like tension and fighting around that. And even in the release and the acceptance of what is, if it is that they're meant to come back to my awareness, I'm going to be much more able to see them and receive them in my relaxed and open state than I am in my tense and fighting state. One of my clients earlier today was sharing about how she has these desires for her life and for what she wants to experience. And what we forget sometimes is that our human brain, we can think about one way that something can happen. So let's just say that you, I have no idea. Maybe you want to take a trip to the Bahamas. Okay, great. And you're like, okay, well, I need X amount of dollars. I have no idea how much it costs to go to the Bahamas. But let's just say it's $2,000 for the trip that you want to take. And you're like, okay, I got to have $2,000 and I got to pay off my credit cards. And then I got to, save the money, and I've got to work X number of shifts or have X number of clients or sell whatever product to make that happen. That's fine and good. That's one way that can happen. But the universe is so vast and there are so many options and so many possibilities. And when you allow your way to just be one of the ways, and then you open yourself up to receive everything that's out there and all of the other potential possibilities, there are so many cool things that could be brought to you, blessed to you. Somebody could be giving away a trip to the Bahamas. Somebody could buy something for you for your birthday. You could have entered in a contest at the mall and win a trip. And there are so many other possibilities, but we screw ourselves up sometimes when we believe that the one way and the one plan and the one path that our human mind could think of is the only possible way that things could unfold for us. I mean, it's sort of self-centered and ridiculous. I mean, it's not to invalidate your one way. It's just that's only one way. So something that helps me in situations like that is shifting my questions to how can I create, and opening myself up to all the different possibilities, as opposed to focusing on and obsessing about the one way. Yeah, sometimes the universe shifts things around for our highest good. You know, that goes back to what I was talking about last week, you know, when I said, do you believe the universe is for you or against you? And my brilliant friend Ben messaged me afterward and asked if I believed that the universe could be neutral. I do. And I choose to believe that it's for me because it feels better. Like, I just like the way that story feels for me. So I don't need to argue about whether it's true or untrue. We're making this up, all of it. We're making it up. So I choose to create stories that feel better. And I don't nail it all the time, okay? I don't nail it all the time. I am human, so I have my own shit and my own limiting beliefs, and sometimes I do fall into old habits and patterns. And the best thing that I have going for me is what we started this whole conversation with today, is a dope tribe that help reflect to me the truth and bring me back. What's up, Yolande? I believe everything happens for a reason, and what I have decided is I'm going to grieve over what was, or I'm going to accept the challenge of what is now. Yeah. So many of us, I think, intellectually believe that everything happens for a reason, and we don't act like it a lot. And I say we because I totally mean myself included. I'm not above this. But it's like, I believe that everything happens for a reason, as long as it happens exactly how I have pre-planned everything according to my schedule. That's how most of us live, right? Like, what did I share the other day? I said, I'm totally open to change my life as long as everything can stay the same and I don't actually have to change anything. Yeah, my hands are full. I have no room to receive. Yeah, so true. I remember the very first time, the grow when you're trying to save is actually something that my national sales director, in Mary Kay, it's something that she said to me. And I remember when she first said it, I didn't get it, because my capacity and like my awareness at the time was just that I needed everybody to stay. Like I had to, right? Like I had to keep everybody, and everybody, like it's what we talked about on last week's live, right? Like nobody could quit, nobody could change their mind. We all had to stay, and everything like had to be this certain way so I could keep like everything right under control. And in that, I mean, you can't grow. Like sometimes you just gotta, what's her name? Elsa, right? Let it go, right? You just gotta let go and trust. Trust yourself in the fall, and trust that the wind and the earth is gonna catch you. And I won't play that. That's not scary. But sometimes it's like our perspective needs to switch. Have you guys ever seen, there's a meme that goes around that somebody's like clinging, I don't recall in this moment if it's like to thorns or to like something metal, and it's like they're holding on desperately. They don't even realize that like what they're holding on to is cutting them, and they're bleeding, but they're like so committed to holding on, because we're just programmed to believe that like if you start something, you got to finish it. You have to, right? Don't get up from the table, and like you started this, you got to end it, or you entered into this, like you got to finish. And I get the higher concept of that, and it's completely not helping most of us. And I think it's bullshit, honestly. It's never how I pre-planned. Yeah. It never does. You know, one of the women I was speaking to earlier, she was telling me about how she gets super far ahead. Like she worries about step 500 before she even takes step 1. Can anyone relate to that out there? And I was asking her, I said, right, Alicia? Let it go. I sound just like her, don't I? I was telling this woman, so I asked her, hold on one second, because that's my alarm for my call. So I was telling this woman, or asking this woman, I said, she's a mom, and I said, out of all the books that you read before you had your kids, could anything have possibly prepared you really for what happened, like in the moment of birth? Now, I don't know. I do not have human children, so maybe your experience is different. But she said no. And I said, and could anything that you would have read in your first or second trimester, could it have prepared you for what your kids were going to be dealing with and what you were going to be dealing with them as toddlers or in high school or now as they're grown and married? And she said, no. But everything about her journey, right, through the pregnancy, through raising the toddlers, then the teenagers, right, then like the grown children, has equipped her to be ready for what's happening now. And most of us are trying to use this now perspective and this current mindset and awareness to determine how we're going to act or behave 3, 4, 500 steps down the road when this body, this human, isn't going to be the one who's making those choices. And so in our, and I know Alicia said, right, like totally looking for the paved path, in that request, I mean, we're like legit demanding the impossible. And I wrote a blog article about this the other day where I talked about how our souls, for many of us, it's becoming the graveyard of our dreams and our desires, because we have this demand, this irrational, and yet it totally makes sense because of our like embodied fears and our, you know, things from our past. But we have this like irrational request that I have to know all of the details, step 1 all the way to the end, of exactly how it's going to go, exactly how it's all going to work out, all of the details. I have to have everything pre-planned, and only then when I go to the end, when I flash forward and I go to the end and I see that it all worked out in the way that in this moment I can envision or imagine, which, to use the trip to the Bahamas is only in the one way that I can think of it, totally discounting the badass magical dopeness of the universe and God and the higher powers that are out there. Just like all of that, because we know better, right? Like we know better. We have the better plan. So we want to flash forward and go there, and then we know that it worked out right because it gives us the results that we think that we need and that we think that we want, and that we think with our limited perspective is what's going to serve us. And when and only when do we have that impossible, ridiculous guarantee will we then come back to the present and actually take action. And it's no wonder people's dreams are dying, because we're not taking any action, because there's no guarantee and there's no possibility that we can get that. I mean, it's a literal demand for the impossible. So then you're frozen in inaction, and yet I get it because I did it for years. So whenever you're ready, you can heal that, and it can become safe within you internally to take the next step. And trusting that in that moment, you'll have the wisdom and the awareness and the knowledge to take the step that comes next. Yeah, yes, please. I'd like all of that information before I move. Oh, I totally sound like Elsa. Thank you. My friends, I have another call in 5 minutes. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. Does anyone else feel like the hour goes by super quickly? I feel like we just started. Thank you. Thank you just for the conversation. Thank you for the connection. Thank you for those of you that were here for 5 minutes, and for those of you that have been here for the 55 minutes and 22 seconds that we've been on live together. I appreciate you so much. Your presence in my life inspires me and gives, you are oxygen to my flames, and I'm so grateful. I'm so very grateful. If you are in my life and if you are watching this, it is by intentional and deliberate craft and design, and I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate those of you who just listen, and I appreciate those of you who ask questions and who comment and engage. And if there's anything that I can do to support you either inside of this video or outside of this video, I hope you'll message me. If you have my cell phone number, text me. If you want to send me a message through email, it's just coachmichellemoore@gmail.com, or you can send me a message through Facebook. I would assume that we're connected or you wouldn't be on here live. So I love you, and I just appreciate you being here so much. Yeah, too fast, right? Same time, same bat station. We will be here next week, and hopefully I'll have some news for you about the podcast, because that feels right, like that's happening. So I'm excited. Thank you all so much. Be well, take care, and we'll talk soon. Mwah. Bye now.